Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Vicky 3, episode 24. We are in Japan, 1851. We have grown our economy rather rapidly, and we are continuing on with that venture. We can't really grow fast enough, really. I mean, we're really taking off, but there's more that I want to do that will help that go even faster. Now, in the meantime, we have actually managed to expand despite being isolationist and Japan. You can see that we have lost our position as an unrecognized major power. We're now just a regional one, even though we have 165 prestige, which is quite a bit more than what we started with, but we lost that rank a while back. But if we get up to 183 for prestige, we can get back to being an unrecognized major power. So it will happen, and that will probably boost us back up quite a bit. But we have fully colonized Hokkaido and Sakhalin, and then we're in East Africa. Yep, we're in East Africa. We took Zanzibar away from Oman. We are in the middle of incorporating that, and then we are currently colonizing Kenya, and I'm really excited about getting this last little sliver here so that others cannot get into the area besides us, at least through natural means. Portugal is friendly. They're the other ones we've got to cover off for that. So Japanese culture has become obsessed with tobacco, so that's going to be an important thing to grow in the industry. In the meantime, I have turned construction up a little bit more, adding some more construction sectors, and we're now at a 33 construction rate. Trying to keep the economy positive by a decent amount, and then keep that construction kind of rising with it as we go along. Well, I think it's time we take on Lindy as well as a colony, as that's going to help us cut Portugal off and kind of give us full access to the area alone. Still haven't cut off the coast here, but we've got to be getting closer to making. Oh, and France is now trying to colonize in French Kenya. We had that one single state to go, and now France is getting in there, and they're going to try to sweep it away from us. So it looks like France could be kind of our primary antagonist in this playthrough, at least how things are going so far. We have still not quite gotten quinine. We're working on it so that we don't have to deal with malaria anymore, but for now, colonization of this region is a bit on the slow side. There we go. There is quinine just about a month later. That's going to help quite a bit. But what this does so far, the quinine is the ones we have. So states that we already have control of, not where we're colonizing. So it's going to take the next stage, malaria prevention, for going kind of forward. Meanwhile, France seems to have already sorted that one out, as they are going quite rapidly colonizing. They're going to be quite a bit ahead of us here in Kenya before long. And we have an eruption of a volcano. That's not going to help us out much. I think I have enough of a cushion. It's time to try something. It's costly. It's going to unbalance things. But we are looking at turning up construction to the second level, which is going to give us more construction out of each. Cost is tools, fabric, wood, and iron. All things that I'm not exactly in abundance of. I just started producing iron. We don't have a ton of it. This could turn out to be costly, but let's see where it puts us. Oh, big negative at the moment. Look at that construction jump to 72. French now improving relations. Okay, let's work on doing the same. And we might have to turn this construction back down here quite soon. Boy, they have just swept in and taken away the state away from us, haven't they? That is going to hurt that gold reserves quite quickly, but we will check the market, figure out where we're at. I mean, we've just seen construction fly. A lot of things done a lot faster. There's the biggest need is iron. All right, so we're getting a lot of construction going on those iron mines, trying to also finish up projects that were already started by bringing them kind of in one by one. This will take care of those iron mines and should help with the balance a fair bit. We're not going to leave it like this for long. All right, checking back in on the market now. These rapid upgrades for the iron mines, it's not instantaneous, so we're not going to see that market price improve terribly fast. But at 70, that's a huge cost. But as those sell orders, come up and that balance gets a bit closer, we will see that price decrease by quite a bit, and hopefully see our economic situation a little better off. The wood is okay. I mean, it's still at a deficit, but it's barely changing the cost. I mean, we're at plus 10% is all. And after looking through everything, it's actually the only glaring need that came out of this construction alteration. So if we can fix that and bring that price down, we may yet see things okay. It's eating through gold reserves quickly, but if we can, resolve it. Right now, the price is still ridiculously high. We just don't have enough. Okay, so checking in on Kanto and the iron mines there, as that's our biggest. It's already a level 9 fully employed, and nothing else that we can do right now to really make it better. And we don't have railroad yet, so it is producing all that it can produce, which is 194 just in that one alone. But as that market is getting there, it's still at 75%. So we've got to keep going. Now, this was an industry I had in fairly good shape. That's tools, but tools are going to suddenly become a major shortage for us as we try to, employ and get these guys up to a level to bring that cost down. It is starting to come down. It's come down by a few dollars. We're also starting to hit into some infrastructure issues. Our rapid expansion is definitely starting to come at a cost. But my oh my, are we expanding rapidly, aren't we? 2 million in cash reserves. All we have to do is turn it back down to first level, and we will see that balance righted very, very quickly. Tools were doing okay. They had actually a slight positive balance, but now tools are very much in great demand once again. Okay, we have not resolved the iron issue, but my oh my, have we got that price down and made it a bit more reasonable. We've got to keep going though, and we've got to bring the tools with it, as both of them have quite the cost right now. All right, well, France cut us off completely. They now have total control of the state itself is nearly done. We can at least begin to incorporate Japanese Kenya, and that 21 years. Boy, oh boy, that's taken a lot longer than I expected that it would take. But we can also start colonizing Maasai. Zanzibar is getting close to being incorporated. That's going to be a big step for us, as it's quite the bureaucratic expense. Gold reserves nearly gone, so we are going to have to turn that construction back down soon. But there's kind of an easy solution. You turn it up, you turn it down. You turn it up, you turn it down. Turn it up when you can. Build that economy rapidly. Turn it down when you have to. And with just 48,000 left, let's go ahead and turn that back down to wooden buildings. It's going to cut us down to 31, cuts it in half essentially, but there is that positive balance that will build us right back up where we were before. We're just going to have to work a little bit slower than what we were doing earlier now. We're also probably going to have an abundance of iron, which is going to crash the market for that. Yeah, so we do want to use some iron sooner rather than later. That also helps with the tool consumption, helps with the price there, which means we could utilize something else for that. But short term, it's wood, it's furniture, it's tobacco that need to come up. All right, so I've made some significant changes to our industries on what they're using, and I didn't change one thing, I changed a bunch of things. So I need to get into the market and start to address our shortfalls. Like a bunch of things are using coal now, so we need to take care of that here very rapidly. And that looks to be the biggest shortfall that we came up with out of all those changes. It does make a certain amount of sense when we only have 3 coal mines. I've nearly rebuilt those reserves to a pretty healthy state, approaching 3 million. But for now, we are okay with being down here, at a 33. I'd like to turn that back up here at some stage. The balance is actually starting to get pretty good for the time being. We, by the way, have colonized very quickly through this territory where France has just kind of swept through and taken all of this. We're still colonizing very slow here. And why? I don't know, but I like how rapidly we're able to get through and get to Lake Victoria, which we're doing pretty well. I think that's what's the difference between here and here, and why we're doing that, or because we have the quinine. I don't know. Why one's colonizing fast and the other isn't. Not entirely sure. Paraguay, though, is now a potential target. We could start taking over these small nations through here. We have no infamy right now, so actually that wouldn't be a bad play. Wonder who are their friends. They have no friends. They have no friends. And we should be done with Zanzibar is fully incorporated. Japanese Kenya, 16 years to go. There we go. We finished a task, philosophy department. And for that, we have 25% university building throughput for a while. We're up to 5 universities now. France doesn't hate us anymore. Great Britain, Portugal, Egypt all like us, so let's go for it. Oh, France sides with Paraguay. Really? Uh-huh. Now, how involved would they get, though? That's the tricky thing, right? How committed are they going to be? Open the Japanese market. Hey, look at that. They want to do something that I want to have accomplished. We are not backing down. No, no, no. We are not backing down. You know what? I think if we do something along those lines, they're going to get quite upset. We could cut them off. I mean, we could try to take Rift Valley, but I think if we go after France, they're going to be more interested in this. We've seen in previous wars, and I'm banking on the chance that they're not. You know what? It's not terrible if we lose. It's not terrible if we lose. I mean, what do we gain in here? Something very small. It's okay if we lose this. So we're going to go with the Conquer Rift Valley to try to cut off France from expansion into this territory. And we have enough to also do Kenya. Nothing else. Okay. This is going to get interesting. Okay, they are mobilized. France has already mobilized a lot of battalions. It's too late to do all, and it's not going to help our strength too much, but we can get into the barracks and change some more over to line infantry. In fact, I've changed over half at this point. Let's just finish the task and get all of the barracks, put them all as line infantry. There is going to be a delay, but we're going to have a significant advantage locally, and we need to put one of our generals there. We need to conquer the war goal, and then we need to conquer the other double war goal as well. So that's what we're going to aim to do, is conquer the war goals. So we're going to put one general here to conquer this territory, and then we'll put one general over here. 214 units traveling there. Ooh my. I don't think we're going to win that one. Wouldn't that be something if we actually take this war goal, get it, and then they open our market by, we back down? That's using a lot. That's going to take us a while. 63 days to get to the front. I think our markets might be open, which is what we want. Their 214 have arrived. They move a lot faster than we do. We do not have a lot of transports. And here comes the war. And we're not in place yet. So I think we're going to be paying war reparations, and then our market's going to get open. I don't mind the war reparations. I mean, this is kind of a neat way to force something we ultimately want. But we are going to lose on this front for a little bit of time. How long is it going to take? Still traveling. 1 day. Boom. Okay, it's going to go back the other way very quickly now. And are we present here as well? We are present. I'd like it if we could actually win this war goal short term, and then, you know, hold them off for a little bit. But I just don't know how fast we can, or how long we can hold them off. We are at a massive disadvantage. Our military is not yet strong, but you can see how quickly we can take this. Or not, really. But I don't know why we didn't advance there. So this front is opening into a bunch of different directions. It's spreading forces out a bit. It's definitely not good because it's also making us lose faster. And for whatever reason, we are not actually advancing on this front. I mean, he has the command to advance, and we have a significant advantage. Yeah, advancing on the front. But it seems to be stalling out. And where one front is behaving like a front, the other one... Oh! We just got pushed back off of this front. We did. So now it's just going to straight be a loss. So we're not going to gain anything out of this one. Alright, so the war reparations and the opening of the market, we're going to agree. I mean, we've already lost the gain on that front. For whatever reason, it wasn't going anywhere. We had that huge advantage. It kept ticking through, and then nothing was happening. And then, meanwhile, they're just rushing through what we have in East Africa. So, like I said, war reparations aren't that bad. We've been there. We've done that. We learned the hard way that 10% of your economy can be a pretty regular thing to be hammered out of you. But opening the Japanese market is something I want. So that's why I didn't back down the moment I saw that Japan got interested. And for that, we are going to go ahead and propose that peace deal. Okay, so we now have free trade. But here's the thing about it. This is the only thing. The industrialists love it. Trade unions don't like it. The shogunate hates it, as do the peasants. So we are going to have some issues, but it's a -10. I mean, you know, we'll survive, right? Hopefully. Hopefully. We got something passed that we couldn't have passed otherwise. And there it is. Trade policy is now free trade, away from isolation. But again, there's that strong dislike. Speaking of strong dislike, here's where we're at. The peasants are quite unhappy, but actually the shogunate, they're still neutral. We still have a decent amount of government legitimacy, and it really didn't hurt our money that bad. Our authority, though, seems to have faded just a bit, so we might want to adjust something there. Oh my goodness. The opening of Japan, now that we've had the open of free trade, has triggered a major change to Japan. Forced to open itself to the World Japanese Shogunate clan, and the shogunate have consequently been greatly undermined. Minus 75% political strength for 19 years and minus 100% popularity. Let's see where we stand. The shogunate still doesn't like it. We still somehow have 90% to 47% on their power. That is a 75% decrease. Wow. They have some serious bonuses. They do have less clout now than before. Peasants are unhappy. I would be thrilled to do something to make them happy. Alright, well, it's time for a big change. We have unlocked railways. I have so many states right now that are over their infrastructure limit. So this is going to begin to address that, and we also want to go for the self-sufficient version of it that's going to help pay for the subsidy. For an absolute rarity, clothing, furniture, the needs are being met. So we actually are meeting some needs for a change. Small arms is something I'm working on here in just a moment to get that one up. And we're making some progress again, even though right now we have a negative balance. I'm not worried about that with the simple fact that it's war reparations that will go away soon enough. And rubber has been discovered in Kenya, so that's going to be a good thing going forward. Right now, explosives is the only thing we're not producing that we really need. Everything else is going to be handled internally quite well. I'm wondering if I should go ahead and conduct some trade and get some explosives. Okay, so I think it's time to start addressing some military power up. This is going to come at a cost. This substitution is going to drop our rate down quite a bit, but it's going to use up artillery. Artillery is something I can produce, and I'm starting to produce. We just weren't there yet. And for that, we've also completed another of our journal entries, modernizing the arsenal. That's where we get a nice boost in Kanto. Alright, and we have finished colonizing this region completely, so that means we can actually go in and incorporate it, though it looks like I need a little more bureaucracy before we want to do that. Still 10 years until Kenya is incorporated, but Zanzibar is now. And then this other area, Lindi, well, it's going rather slow, and I have a feeling that if I stop this or pause it, maybe, just maybe, it's going to resume and not have that 90% penalty. No, let's not stop that. I don't know why this state's having issues and others aren't, but let's go ahead and establish colony elsewhere. And Kazembe. Now, our army projection has grown significantly now, 627, so that is something where we are making some progress. It's still not levels of the major powers, but it's a huge step in the direction we needed to go for that. We're going to need a lot more battalions. We need to invest in our military heavily at some stage, and I've started that investment, but there's a lot more steps to getting that. It is going to make us certainly more powerful. Our prestige, though, is still pretty iffy. Getting back to that unrecognized power, that the level for that is just growing rapidly. I mean, it was 100. We're up to 300 in prestige, but now the level to be there is 353. In the meantime, most of our infrastructure issues have now been addressed. We are addressing one more right now. It's actively being done there in Chubu. So at least infrastructure will no longer be a problem as we're getting active into the railway. Our economy is doing okay, but again, our expenses are fairly high, and actually it's just ended. We should see this level off here fairly soon. It looks like we are not going to be paying. In fact, it's just now showing that it's gone. You're not paying anything for the diplomatic pact, except it's still showing. It's showing and not showing, right? There's no sign there that it's back down to zero and that the 10,000 has gone away. So it has faded. We're just not seeing the effect of it just yet. It seems to be glitching out slightly because that cost didn't go away. We had this exact same balance. It's suddenly not showing it when it was showing it just a short while ago. Unrealized taxes or something along those lines. I suppose right as it triggered, I changed my stance on transportation, making a profit out of it. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. Whatever the case may be, the economy is not far from being balanced. We have really invested a lot into some various industries that come with an expense, in particular the military. So huge upgrade in terms of what we are getting in our military, and that projection went from 100 to 150, and it was there for a while. At the start of that war, it was 150, and we were trying to push it up to about 200, but that was going to take months to actually activate and be useful for us. And now all of a sudden we've pushed that up to 600. So massive uptick in the strength of our military, but also a pretty massive uptick in expense, in cost has gone with it. But it still hasn't put us in a terrible spot. We're still okay. We're just going to need to take care of those goods for military buildings. But we don't have any major negatives. That's one thing that has suddenly become a problem. the engines. We're going to need to start producing engines. You can see those cannons are still negative, but not by much. And the explosives, we need to either import it or figure out how to start producing that ourselves. But there's, in the short term, what needs to be addressed. The cannons, too, are actually quite expensive. They have quite the additional expense to them right now. So it's nice that we know what needs to be addressed. It's nice that we have a decent amount of construction to input things to get work done rather quickly. We still have some shortcomings. In the meantime, we now have 38 million. Last episode was at 22, so we've already brought it up by an additional 16 million. Literacy has gone up by another 5%. The population continues to grow, now at 38 million. I think we were at 34 after taking Zanzibar, so it's grown by 4 million, and part of that, its mortality rates have come down by 5%. Radicals only at 500,000. That's remained pretty steady for a long time, and we have a lot of loyalists. Passing laws has not happened this time, except the hard way, which turned out to be the easy way. Pretty much intentionally lose a war that we knew we stood no chance against France on if they committed to it, and they did. They committed plenty of troops to it, and so they beat us rather quickly. So it was either we stand to gain 3 territories in Africa and we're stronger, or France was going to sweep in and do that. They swept in, they did that. So there was never we were going to beat France in a war, not in the state of our military. Now our military just got a lot stronger, but it's still not going to compare to what France has. For that example, here is France. Let's get out of here so we can see the actual. There we go. 4,000. So our 600 is nowhere near 4,000, but our 150, in comparison, they sent half of their battalions. They sent half of the French army to fight us in war. That means subtract the conscripts. They had probably a projection strength, I would guess, of about 1,000 present. Now, if we committed everything we had, 600 is still going to be weaker than that. But based on a projection, right, of 4,000, if you're looking at 700 troops, 700 units, if you include the conscripts, let's say the conscripts are weaker. Let's say their evaluation is probably 100 each. It's probably not the case when it comes to France. In fact, let's just say that they're equal. Okay, 700, 4,000. I mean, we're talking about 600 for 100 of them. We have 100 units, so their evaluation is 600. We have 100 units. Now, I do have conscripts, but my conscripts, their evaluation is a 1 per. So my 100 units are equivalent to about 450 for strength. Theirs are about 600 for strength, is what I'm guessing. Even after the upgrades, they're still stronger than what we have. And then, of course, they have 3 times the number of units we have. Could we maybe beat France in a war eventually if we continue to, grow and expand our military? Absolutely. France is a really hard one to try to take on, though. There's some easier powers out there than France, who is number 1 in the great power rankings. So having them being angry and mad and belligerent towards us is tough. They have not expanded in this area since, so they seem to be happy and content there. They might have given up on interest in the area as we continue to finish off this region, and maybe we're not going to be conquering these guys anytime soon. But once we are kind of wrapped around to here, we can push into a more Central Africa area and start colonizing there. Either way, we are doing something that the great powers do. We have a lower rank than what we had, but again, our prestige has tripled. So how we get back up to where we were, keep going, keep growing. That prestige will come up. We'll get back to being something significant, and we made a huge step for the military. There's just more steps to take. That is going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and bye for now.